See if that works. Okie doke. We're live. I'm just waiting for my tablet to refresh. Okay. We'll give it a few minutes because I don't have such a great intro. Come on, laptop. What are you doing here?
You could do a dance and, do a little song.
You guys can start without me if you want to do that.
Hi,
And then
Mandy.
I'll jump in. All right. So, joining me tonight, you guys probably all know Shari from Ghost Hunters. Also joining me is Mandy Cummings. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Shari, do I butcher your last name? Is it DeBenedetti?
DeBenedetti.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, you're butchering. Shari's good.
And for those of you who don't remember, Shari was named after a horse. We
That's
got that
right.
from
That's
the
right.
last
That was
time
my.
we did one of these.
Yeah.
Mandy is part of Ghost Sisters that you guys can follow on all the socials. You're on YouTube, you're on all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So the way Chris isn't here, by the way, because Chris doesn't feel well. So it's just me, unfortunately. And I'm John from New Jersey Paranormal, if you don't know me. The way I've known Shari and Jason and Steve and Dave for a while because of the expo, and they've been coming to the expo in Jersey for years. Mandy, we met because they wanted to do an investigation of the Sterling Hill Mine. And if you guys don't know what the Sterling Hill Mine is, it's in Ogdenburg, New Jersey. The mine was active from the late 1600s all the way up to 1986, I believe. Documented deaths, I think, were 76, but the numbers probably quadruple that, according to the director. So Jay said he wanted to film there for his YouTube channel, and he said, I'm going to bring some friends along. Now, I knew he was working with JV, and then he mentioned Shari was coming. I was like, oh, okay, well, they did the show together. And then he mentioned Mandy, and I was like, well, I don't know Mandy, but okay, whatever. If this is what they're doing, this is what they're doing. And JV and Jason and John would go into the mine, which the mine is 1.25 miles deep. And when you're in there and those big metal doors are closed, you don't hear anything outside. And Shari and Mandy were doing their own separate investigation in the buildings. Mm-hmm. And then over the course of the next few nights, they just kind of switched it up. Yeah. So, Shari, you had investigated a mine before, right? On Ghost Hunters?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
I started Ghost Hunters 2014. So I think they did it prior to me.
Wow. Mandy, you ever been in a mine?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Nope.
Well, I'll tell you real quick my history with the mine. I had read that article about the number of people dying there and how long it had been in existence. So I went and talked to the director, Bill, and I just said to him, anything paranormal ever happened here? And he's like, you kidding me? Shadow figures, voices, mist turning into people, all this different stuff. And I said, do you mind if we go in and take a look? And if you watch the Jason Hawes video, when you watch the Jason Hawes video,
we'll get there.
You'll see a lot of those claims were validated during that 2 hours that he did. And again, not having been in a mine, what were your initial impressions of walking in there, both with the lights on and with the lights off? Mandy, you go first.
Well, it wasn't as cold as I thought it was going to be. It definitely had a really creepy vibe to it. And I think it was really creepy just knowing you're walking into a place like that, knowing that, what if it was the cave in? You don't know. You just don't know. I was a little nervous too, because I know that they said the women were bad luck. So I was like, okay, so, we're probably going to get a lot of activity, walking in here. I did feel a lot of stuff in there when I was in there. It just has a totally different vibe than when you go to your typical locations to investigate, like a asylum or a prison or just a house or something. it definitely was different, creepy.
What about you, Shari? What were your?
Well, whenever I go into any location, I don't care what it is, I always walk in where things are just not haunted. To me, it's just another location. I've been in mines before, and I was always told that women were bad luck at these locations. So it was always good for when I went there to get a lot of reaction because they don't want us there because we're bad luck. So, and I've always had a lot of stuff happening when I do go to these locations. But to me, again, it's just another location, just walking in. And until things happen, that's when I'll get excited and be like, okay, there is something down here. But I never have those feelings of, I mean, I know like we were going down and you're like, oh, I feel somebody behind me and I feel this and I feel that. And I'm like, I don't feel anything, but you're a medium. I'm not, you pick up on these things. And me, even if I feel something, I still kind of like, okay, all right, I might feel something, but I don't know if it's in my head or this. So I just always dismiss it until something actually happens. So
And what's good about that is that you just brought up, I didn't mention that, Mandy, you are a medium.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we've yet to have a medium kind of come through there ever. We're kind of the same. We kind of believe it when we see it type of people. None of us have those abilities. So, that's how we are. So having investigated with a medium, Shari, have you done that before throughout your events or anything you've done?
Yeah, I do work with every once in a while I work with another medium that's local. Is that you sipping?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was like, that ain't me.
Like, yeah. Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah. So, and I really only investigate with people that I know and that I trust. So like Mandy and this other woman, if they said they feel something or they, like I can trust them, I can believe them of what they're telling me. But no matter who it is, and no disrespect to anybody, I still need to know, I still need to experience it myself to believe it.
Yeah.
So you can tell me whatever, and like, that's great for you, but I need to see it and feel it or hear it myself to really, get excited and kind of,
and
for me.
People are asking in the chat. You can research the Sterling Hill Mine. You can watch Jason Hawes' episode on Jason Hawes' YouTube channel. They go all over about the history and everything. It was 26 levels at one time, but only one level is accessible now. The rest of all flooded out. So you knew Mandy prior to, were you friends? I didn't even know if there was any kind of, had you met each other before?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how long we've known each other.
Yeah.
Well, like the only time, so that she came, I live in the Salem, Massachusetts. I live in that area, and Mandy came out here with her sisters, so I met them, and we went to the Hawthorne and investigated a little bit there and walked around town and stuff like that. That was really the only like fun investigation like that we did together, but otherwise we never actually did. That was our first, well, really second, because we went to 2 locations.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like but the first weekend that I've actually investigated with her.
And how was that for the both of you? Do you feel like you kind of?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Together? It's just pretty much like with anybody, you kind of have to go through these to see like, how does she work? How do I work? How can we work together? And things, and it'll take probably a few times for us to really know how each other works, but we have to start somewhere. So
I mean, again, one of the things that struck me the first time I ever went into that mine, I know they do tours there all the time. Kids are there day after day. School tours go through there. And even if you talk to people that are my age or younger, they went on, school trips there when they were young. With the lights on, it's a little eerie, but when you turn the lights off in there, like, could you, that it is pitch black. I mean,
oh yeah,
no light whatsoever. That didn't kind of
I
creep you
mean,
out a little bit.
I love it, but I'm used to going into locations. Again, I don't go anywhere assuming that there's activity. Like
Right.
I never ever do. I don't care if the place is 500 years old or a year old. Like it doesn't matter. Anything can happen anywhere. So I kind of go in just with a blank thing, and you've got to prove it to me what's going on.
So Mandy, were you giving impressions during the initial walkthrough to Shari, or did you keep that to yourself and wait until the actual?
Well, at the mine, actually, when we did the tour, I was getting something. I was picking up on there was a man that was following, and I actually mentioned it to Shari when we were at the. I think we were in the locker rooms at the time.
Yeah.
Investigating. I said, I started describing what I was seeing, and yeah, the name that was coming to me. I felt like he was still with us when we started our investigation in the locker room or the museum part. So yeah, definitely was feeling the men were watching us. That's what I was getting. They were curious to, like, okay, like what are these ladies doing here,
I mean, especially in that area, that's where the lockers and the
rooms,
showers, the showers are there as well. So I mean, it's like,
But we had a lot of fun. I mean, I had fun with Shari. I mean, Ghost Sisters, she knows, she's been around my sisters and us, we have fun. And, I take it serious when I'm investigating, but I'm a person that's just I'm a hyper person.
Right.
And I just kind of put out that energy, and I get really excited when I get any little communication. It's just, I've always been that way. It just
same way.
excites me. But I gotta, and like Shari said, learning how I gotta learn to be a little more quiet because
I'm not like that.
Shari's not like that.
Oh, I can't wait to see this YouTube video. This is gonna be like Odd Couple YouTube.
Yeah, no. So like when I'm investigating, when things are happening, I just like I don't, like I get excited inside, like, ooh, something's happening, so I get excited, but on the outside, I'm like, okay, we need to be quiet and we need to start asking questions. We need to try to get as much as we can on the recorder or on the video, trying to get as much evidence as possible. And you can't do that when people are talking and loud and this, and so there's so many times where I would investigate with different people and they just keep talking. And then you hear all the little, like the voices in the background. It's like, I can't.
No.
So there's a lot of video, all these places that I've been to, I have to cut out everything because I'm like, I can't use any of this. Nobody wants to hear this. People want to hear their voices. They don't want to hear us. Like they want to hear things. They want to see things. They want to experience the things while we're going through it. So we have to be like, okay, things are happening. Let's go. And just start asking questions while the things are happening,
So Mandy, what is she saying that it's going to be a 5-minute episode because you're talking the whole time over everything?
No, I tried to be nice. I try,
potential voice here,
investigating.
Yeah.
The first night, and this wasn't just at the mine, but the first night me and her actually did a real, investigation together. I was nervous, they don't use a lot of mediums. So I was really nervous and I wanted to make sure I was following her lead and not trying to, because I'm the lead on my team, right? So I'm usually like telling my sisters, do this and that. So she's the lead. So I'm like following her and I'm going to be my authentic self, but I had to kind of figure out how Shari did her thing. And I wanted to, follow her. And I think the first night I was really nervous. She probably could have sensed it. I was. And the second night I kind of was like, okay, I just kind of was more comfortable. And then when we went to the mine, I was even more comfortable. And I was still, the reason I think I got more excited at the mine was because there was so much going on.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yes, and we're getting this. And so I just was excited, but I had to go with the flow with Shari. And there's nothing wrong with that because I like to be quiet and listen because my sisters are loud during investigation. And I'm usually the one like, shh, quiet, So I totally understand where she was coming from. I was doing what I always told
You know
them
what? The other thing is that, working with mediums, they obviously do it a different way.
Right.
And so when I always say, like, no, we don't work with mediums. I was just never, we're scientific. We want things going. We don't want somebody to tell us what the story is. Like, we want them to tell us what the story is, not a person talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, I trust you. I trust the other people that I work with. A lot I don't trust. But I always say, we're going to do it our way of paranormal investigating way. But if something comes to you, tell me. Like if somebody's saying, hey, I'm so-and-so, tell me the name, and then we'll try to say, okay, is so-and-so here?
Yeah.
And then we'll try that. And I think something's over there. Okay, so we'll go over there, test out what we can find out. So I do work with them that way. Like I'm not going to tell, I would never say, shut up. Like I would never, like I wouldn't ever do that. But
that's probably all edited out, Mandy. You got nothing to worry about.
There's definitely ways to work together. And if that person is faking stuff, well, you know what? I'm going to call you out. Like I'm not going to call you out because you think that you hear something, and I wouldn't ever say that you don't.
Right.
But if it's all night long that you're saying there's so-and-so here, and I'm like, I got nothing. No, I don't have any voices. They're not doing anything. They're not moving. They're not touching me. Like I have no proof myself that there is a so-and-so here. So I can't.
No, I get
call you a liar, but I can't. It's just not me.
It's a double-edged sword. Again, we know a lot of mediums. We actually have a psychic fair that we should throw along with the expo and everything to raise money for these different places. And no offense to mediums, but there are a lot out there, and it's hard to know which ones are legit and which ones aren't. And like you said, if we don't have that ability, it's hard for us to. You could tell anybody there's a little girl in the corner and she's wearing a yellow dress, and the rest of us go, okay, but. Having said that, we have worked with mediums in the past that have said, put a piece of equipment over there or ask this question and this, you'll get an answer. And it happened. Yeah. And again, it must be difficult as a medium, Mandy, when you go along that route, when you're the only one who could do that. And yet you have people like Shari and Jason and others who are.
It was nerve-wracking. I'm not gonna lie.
I couldn't imagine that.
But like I told Shari, and I was up front with Shari. I said, Shari, I'm just gonna tell you, I don't work like a lot of other people that are mediums. I don't go in and say, oh, there's this, there's that. Right. Oh, I don't do that. I personally, I don't like to know nothing about a location. I just want to go in and see what I get. Even during our investigations with my sisters, I don't do that. If something comes to me, I'll say, I'm getting this, but sometimes I tap in, tap out. I don't want to I'm not one of those. So I'm more investigating.
And so I did notice that, which I definitely appreciated, because there's a lot of mediums who it's all about them.
Yeah. I don't do that. I've never
and it's constant, and you can't get a word.
Investigate it. You can't. It's like
So that no, I definitely love that.
And I've always been that way, because I tune in, tune out. I don't want to just be, but if it comes to me, sometimes I can't block it if it's like bugging me, and I'm like, okay, I got to say something.
But you know what? You also say, because I ask you, I'm like, are you picking up anything? Do you see anything? Feel anything? But you're, I'm not. When normal, when you get these fake people are like, yes, I do,
exactly.
And then with a big story.
And let's face it,
but yeah.
I mean, let's face it, when it's easier in certain places you're in, when like you're in the Axe murder house, what happened there. You're in the Lizzie Borden house, what happened there.
Yeah.
When you're in a mine, well, what do you think happened at a mine? People died in cave-ins or explosion. So if you were a medium that wasn't credible, it's real easy to just, word salad. Yeah, somebody died in a cave-in over here. They're buried beneath us. So, but I think of myself, like if I ever had to investigate with Jason and Shari and Steve and Dave, and I've been doing this a long time, I would be intimidated with the four of them because I would be concerned. Like everything I got, they'd be like, no, that was the guy down the street, beeping his horn, or somebody flushed their toilet 3 towns over, and I'd be like, yeah, well, forget it. I'm not doing
was
this anymore.
intimidated. I mean, I know JV. I've investigated with him lots of times on Paranormal Reality TV. Though I've never met Jason. Well, actually, I met him one time at a ScareCon event in Tennessee. But it was real quick, and that was it. So, and of course, I know Shari. She's been on my live on Ghost Sisters before, doing a podcast with
For
me
3 hours. Yeah, drinking.
Yeah, we did it twice. But that, other than that, it was. I was pretty comfortable once I met Jason and everybody. Everybody was so laid back, and I'm a very laid back, easygoing person. I don't know a stranger.
Jason's online, so we need to be nice.
Yeah, Jason, they didn't watch your episode, by the way. I tested him before we went on, and neither one watched. So I can only do so much.
Sorry.
But let me tell you about that episode, so we can talk more about the mine and what goes on there. It's really hard. Shari, you run events too, and I think you guys do as well, right? Mandy, you do events with the public as well?
In our hometown, yes.
Okay, so when you're in a place and you're in there and you've experienced things and you've captured things, anytime you invite anybody, and especially like you said, somebody like Jason and Shari and those guys, you're like, they'll tell you, I'm the worst at this. I must have been texting Jason like every day going, is there anything on? Jason is like got a poker face. They all do. I'm waiting for like you guys or them to like, it was good or we just got nothing. And everybody's just like going through the motions. And I'm like, oh man, they're not getting anything. They're not getting anything. And then I watched the episode the other night and I was like, wow, they literally validated every single thing that ever happened to us in that mine pretty much. So that was really cool for me and validation for me, so you never know what's going to happen. Like Shari said, you walk into a building just because people say it's haunted and active. I've been in some of the most haunted places that people talk about and had.
Right.
Yeah, very little.
It was just that night for whatever reason, maybe my
But you know what? Also, everybody has a different haunted, I mean, my haunted, somebody has to come up and things like that happened in the mine, like seeing things and hearing things, and physical touch and feeling everything. That's, to me, is like great. That's great activity. Other people, there just might be like a little noise here and there, or things like in their mind, and they're like, oh my God, it's haunted. I'm like, if 1 or 2 things happen, it's not really, it's not exciting to me. It's not. So to me, it's not that haunted, but other people who don't regularly go into locations, or maybe they think that everything is paranormal because they really don't go and try to debunk things or trying to figure out what the real issue is. So some of them think, oh, it's really haunted. And it's like, no, it's really not. So it depends. Each person's different.
Well, I can't talk about part 2 of the Jason Hawes episode, but he ends episode 1 with the face in the tower. That's where episode 1 ends. Now, we're touring a place and they're touring everywhere. And Mandy did probably one of the funniest things that I'll remember. That's how I'll always remember her name. When people do weird stuff and I meet them for the first time, it might etched in my brain. So there are parts of that tower that are a little, they're secure, but they're a little, let's face it. Let's put it this way. I wasn't the first one going anywhere.
I think we all followed Jay. If Jay can do it, we'll all be through.
And Mandy was in front of me. So I had a good 3-4 people deep. If anything happened, I could get out of there and get help. Mandy would do this thing where it was stomp on the floor to make sure the area was secure. And it was just behind her. I'd wait to see what happened when she did it. And then I let her go a little bit, and then I follow behind her. So she was. But it was funny. She was like, bang, bang. I mean, she was hitting that floor.
Hey, I
Like,
figured
okay.
if I stomp and if I give away a little bit, then I'm like, I'm not going no further. Nope.
The only thing that was bothering me up there was all like the animal stuff that was going on. That's why I was watching my footsteps. I didn't want to step in anything.
Well, you want to talk about that? We investigated the towers probably a week or two after you guys were there.
Oh, okay.
Tyler led us up there.
Nice.
There are bigger piles of raccoon poop
Oh no.
further and further and further. And the people I was with kept wanting to go. We had the metal door behind it. Remember that door we walked in to get to where the stairs were to go up?
Yeah, yeah.
That door, when we were about a quarter of the way in, opened and closed on its own. It was shut, and we heard it go, boom, no wind whatsoever. But they wanted to keep going because we were hearing things down the other end. Yeah. And I'm telling them, these poop piles, eventually they lead to where the poop comes from. Yeah. The raccoons aren't just going in here and using it as an outhouse. They're hiding.
Yeah.
Like the movie Aliens, they're waiting to pounce eventually.
Well, and you said that there were bears up there too, right? Bears
in the woods.
A lot of that area.
Yeah. And we've only seen one in 8 years. Which,
okay.
You know, but anyway, back to the mine. I know I go on tangents too. Mandy and I would be like talking all the time during investigation. we wouldn't get anything done. Shari would be like,
let's go.
Like, you know.
But again, the mine itself, we can't talk a lot about your episode because it hasn't aired yet, and I don't want to spoil anything or ruin anything. But Shari, being the way you are, as far as again your level of kind of labeling things as active or haunted, would you say that you experienced enough to think that place was active?
In the mines, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's like with what we experienced in the mines, yes. I would say a lot of residual, you know, a lot of residual stuff. There was definitely intelligent because of things that we also captured also.
Okay.
In the museum, it was a little tough because we weren't supposed to, you know, in the locker room museum, it was kind of, you know, yeah, you're not supposed to be here. And, you know, we'll make some noises, but we don't want to talk to you type of thing. You know, we did catch a few voices, but you can't really understand, you know, what they're saying. But you just kind of felt like they don't want to talk to us. They don't want us here. We're not supposed to be here, and they don't want to talk to us. So maybe the guys got a better. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I haven't seen that part. That's part 2. That's going to be coming up.
Yeah, and I just felt like there was like a lot of the energy because there's stones everywhere. So of course that's going to be like all of that energy, and then you're going to have all of the, you know, there's so many things from so many different mines.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, so there's definitely something going on, but it would be a location that I would definitely go back to. You know, a lot of places I'm like, you know, I didn't really get enough to really have to go back to, but that place I would definitely go back to.
So Jason had a bit of an issue with every now and then you'll see a bat. Any bats when you were in there?
I didn't see, you thought you heard like a little, maybe, well, no, I think that maybe that was like a thing that you heard in your ear. Oh no, I remember you looking at the caves and you're like, I think I saw something fluttering by, but you weren't sure.
Yeah.
If you saw it, but I think you only said that once. I didn't hear or see anything.
Well, you have to watch his video because he literally gets dive bombed.
He did.
Oh, did he?
The whole entire rest of the video, he's got his flashlight searching the walls before he goes anywhere. And he's looking in holes. Yeah.
In the
looking in holes.
Yeah,
but see, I'm the same as him. I don't like bats.
I don't
they
like bats
come out
either.
when I investigate, and it's bad.
Me either.
I mean, I don't want them fluttering around my head, but like, I don't really think about it. Like usually, so when I go investigating, I'm 99% of the time the short one. So I'm usually kind of like behind the taller people. So the bats will go after them, and then they get to like all like the webs and everything.
shield.
So they go through all of that. So I just have no problems in the back.
So Mandy, as a medium walking through the mine, now again, I'm curious just for my own knowledge because I don't have mediumship abilities. Are they aware that a medium is there, or are they more zoomed in, or
yes,
they know you're there?
Yes. I know they know we're there. I think they can, the aura, the light around the person. I think like the more the energy, you know, because we all have that energy. So the aura, I believe that they know when someone's really sensitive walking in. They know already, and they're drawn to that.
But did you get that? Did you get more interaction as far as what you were picking up? Like, I'm not a medium. So are you able to hear them? Are you able to see them? Like, what are you going through? If
they want me to see them with my actual eyes, I will see them, and I have seen them, or I will see them in my mind. I'll get a vision of it, and I can hear them too. Sometimes, you know, I do hear a lot of disembodied voices, or I'll hear them say something real quick to me, you know, 1 or 2, 3 words in my mind. And yeah, so that's just how it works for me. But if not, you know, a lot of times it's mainly in my mind, but I have seen them with my eyes and heard
what was really cool. And again, the Jason episode, he got his name.
Yes, I heard that.
You hear it clear as day, Jason, when he's in there by himself. And I literally watched that video, like biting my nails. And then every time something happened, I was watching football. I was like, yes, there it is again. That growl, they must have gotten that growl 7 or 8 times that we got over and over.
I don't think I've ever heard of any growls.
No. They run right up on you and they growl. We've gotten it many times, and he caught it at least 5 times, 6 times.
Did we get that? I know.
I didn't know of any growls.
Yeah. We did solos. And you know, after I watched Jason and JV, their show, I was sitting there thinking, I'm so grateful that Shari didn't say Mandy walk through here alone.
You guys should have done that. Now that I think about that.
I would have did it.
They each did an alone session by them. They each walked through with just the camera. And
we did the long.
Yeah, we actually did. One of us stood in one spot.
Yeah, we stayed right in the beginning, and then we just did like a long.
Yeah, but being in there totally alone, knowing you're halfway in and nobody's coming from the other way to get you, and there's no walkie-talkie access.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Mandy and I did do with the walk by ourselves. That's why I don't understand.
Oh, okay.
I mean, like going in, say no one in there, but just you walking in completely alone. But me and Shari did do solos. We stood, you know, we each went one at a time, and you know, we experienced stuff.
I guess I was experiencing. I guess I was looking for a little bit more when we did the solos, just because you know, like being a woman, you know, just like you know. But I didn't. Again, I didn't feel like there was anything there. Every once in a while, you think you hear something, but I'm also the type of person where you need to like really try to get my attention. If I hear things now and then, I'm like, whatever. It could just be the drops. You know, there's a lot of drops in there.
Yeah.
You know, just there could be a noise for whatever reason. I have to have like a lot of things happening to me to be considered, okay, that's something going on.
Right.
So things could have happened, and I just kind of like dismissed it. You know.
Well, one of the things again that when we first went in there for the very, very first time, we started at the end where that lake is. That pond with the frog, and we had never been in there before. We started at the end and worked our way back to the beginning, and we were in that one area that's kind of open. We call it the Zoolander area because they filmed the movie in that one section across from the lake. And we're talking to each other, and first we started hearing whistles, and it was like Shari kind of mentioned. We all were talking, but then we went shh, shh. Everybody just shut up. And we sat and we listened. And then we heard the conversations. We heard them talking. And again, in that episode with Jason, they've referenced the voices coming from, and the sound carries so much in a mind that you have no idea if it's that corridor way
Right.
down there behind you. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of that.
We
during-
did hear a lot of like just conversations. So you do hear like just men, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, you know, so you can't figure out what they're saying or whatever. But there was definitely, and I feel like that was like everywhere in the showers and in the like that kind of was everywhere. Everybody,
A lot of residual,
yeah,
definitely.
a lot of that.
I
They
think
were
there's
still
both.
working. Those miners are still working
Yeah.
there. I'm
Yeah,
telling
we've
you,
heard a lot of-
them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you guys have been to a lot of places too. And again, as paranormal investigators, we have our set of questions. You know, what did you do here? How long did you work here? You know, what equipment did you use? You know, do you know how you die? You have like a repetitive questions that you ask, and I'm watching them go through and I'm hearing, you know, the questions, and we literally do the same thing that they did. Hey, we're in the mine, we're lost. Can somebody help us?
Yeah, we did.
See,
Yeah,
everybody
we
does
did.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, how many times did he get tired of hearing this? They're probably like, what the hell are you doing here?
I
If
know.
you don't know why you're here.
That's the
But-
thing. It's like you wonder if they're like, oh my God, the same questions, different people, everybody's lost, everybody wants to know about me, everybody, you know, and I'd get annoyed too.
Well, we found out afterwards, and again, I don't know if we told you about this or not, but there were 2 people that worked there and died, not there, but after working there, that one of them has their ashes in a locker in the room you're talking about.
You saying that.
Yeah.
And the other one
mine.
had his ashes spread towards
Yeah.
in the back of the building. They kind of had a weird code. Like, it's a difficult job. I mean, let's face it, I wouldn't want that job.
Yeah.
And they had like a weird brotherhood, you know, like what a tough job, especially in the early days when they had candles. Could you imagine going down 20 levels with 5 candles?
Wasn't it 4?
However, let's say it's
Okay.
4.
Well,
I mean,
I just want to make sure because on the video I was told 4.
Shari, going back
I
and
don't want
forth
to give out the
with
wrong
the
information.
information.
We had a lot of our cameras kept like the battery was like drained, like boom, just like that. It was crazy. They were zapping they were
Wouldn't that
pulling
be an
energy.
interesting experiment to go in there with candles and try just to see how, if there were like older spirits, if there is such a thing, how they would react to that type of
That would be a good idea.
investigation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, would you get the ones that passed 200 years ago going, hey, wait a minute, this is what we did. Let's go check that out. So there's lots of things you could do in there.
Yeah.
And we lead tours in there. We don't do it. We didn't do it this year because we were so busy this year, but we'll do ghost walks during the October. And sometimes I won't call them little guys, but 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds will come with their parents. And, you know, they'll talking smack the whole time. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. We get them down in there near that explosive room. That's where we got a lot of EVPs. And we just turn off all the flashlights and we just real quiet. There's nothing. And when you turn the flashlights on again, they're all like hugging each other. And they're like, that's my favorite part of those ghost walks, by the way.
Oh, cute.
So again, I was hoping, it's so funny because when I interviewed Jason and JV, I was hoping their episode would have aired. And by the time I had you guys on, I was hoping that you either watched theirs or Shari's, yours was
I
gonna.
know. But I have a lot. I'm almost there. It was like a 3-hour thing. So I'm just trying to, narrow it down. It's probably going to be like a 2-part like them. Hopefully come out first part next Wednesday and then the Wednesday after.
Oh, really?
The
That
second
quick?
part. Well, I'm trying since we're doing the podcast today. I wanted to try to, make sure that it's kind of close together. So
is this just your name, your YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Just look up Shari.
At Shari Marie 826, like all my other social medias. I try to keep it the same.
And how often are you doing posting?
Well, I
know it's probably a bad question.
try to do it more often, but
Right.
Life is happening.
Yeah.
So, I do have another job, that I'm working, and plus like family stuff. So I have all these videos that I want to post. It's just things are just constantly being pushed. This I think was actually the last investigation that I did, but it'll be the first one that I'm posting. But I still have like all these other ones that they've been for months and months ago. But I'm like, I gotta. So I need to. Also, the other thing is that I am not a tech person at all. So when you watch these videos, just remember, I don't do this. I don't do this. So it might be a little chopped up or weird or something. And, I'm trying to do whatever I can, just to throw it out there. But I just want everybody to know I'm not a professional at this. So.
Well, I mean, again, so you're editing it all yourself?
Yeah, I'm going through everything myself, editing it.
Oh, wow.
I would love to help her, but
well, I know, but I am like a true Virgo, as in I need to do everything because that's just me. And so even if you went through stuff, I would still have to go through it because I'm like, well, what about if she this, not to say that you're going to miss it. It's just me.
I'm like that too when I'm going through our stuff too, because I'm the one that does it on the team. My sisters, I wouldn't rely on them. I'm like, no, that's dust. No.
Yeah, so it's just taking, and we were at this location for 2 days. So that's just a lot of footage to go through, and try to like take all these different things that, that we definitely want on, that we don't want on. There's some singing that we did. I figured I'd leave that off.
I'm curious. Tell me more about this now.
Maybe it sounded worse after she watched it. I don't know.
Where was this happening? In the mine, or was this because of the acoustics?
Well, we didn't sing at the mines. We sang at another location that we were at, and I was like, no, we don't need to have that on there. We don't. Yeah.
I say leave it in and see what happens.
Listen, the spirits didn't even want it. They didn't react. So
I'm thinking now I know why it wasn't so active. You guys. So let me ask you a question, Shari, because again, talking about the way you are and the way your brain works. If you were to go back through all of that footage and you heard voices in places where you didn't hear them live with your ears, would you automatically eliminate them? Because let's say they weren't female and you knew it wasn't a female voice. Would you eliminate that because you didn't know what it was and you didn't hear it live, or would you leave it in?
If I heard a voice that actually sounded like they were saying something, absolutely. But if I just heard like or some, sometimes you just get like a little piece of something. No, I just because it could have been anything. Like we have the mics here. Sometimes, if we're like, or whatever, breathing or whatever, or there was a lot of dripping. So it could have been a drip, so I try to think of everything else that it could be. And if I couldn't come up with, like if I couldn't come up with anything else, then I would put it in there because if I do get a lot of voices that I actually think are actually saying like specific words that I'm thinking of, like, oh, it sounds like this. So I'll put it in there. And like the thing, I'll put what I think it is, and I'll put like a little question mark, like this is what I think that it says, but you guys can decide. Like I don't, because everybody hears words differently also. So I'll put as much as I can.
And that's the thing I was explaining to Jason, and I think to all of you before you went in there. We only have the equipment we have, and we don't have great cameras or those directional microphones. When we go in there, we're just in there with a digital recorder, and we're doing, those like burst sessions. We'll go to an area, ask questions, listen right back, see if there's any responses, ask more questions, and then do that kind of throughout. So we're kind of in the moment, in the area. But everybody, the people that have come in here to film with those mics and everything, I was even telling Jason, sometimes those mics don't get those voices clearly because, again, they're They're down there.
Right. Yeah.
They're over there, and your mic is facing that way, and it could have come from that way or that way, and it's really hard to explain.
Yeah. I mean, like
that.
we had the mics that we used, you know, we both had our H, and it was both
Right,
you know,
right.
connected to us. So the other issue with when you see my video is that I don't know how to combine the voices. So you'll hear Mandy's loud on her camera and my voice loud on my camera, loud, so that the mic is right here, and it's not that we're talking into here. We're talking into here, but
Gotcha.
still, the other person will be a little further away when I'm depending on whose camera that I'm putting out there. I'm telling you all the issues. Just
I
so
can't wait to see this video.
you guys
Please
actually
post it.
see it and hear
Post
it. You'd
it right
understand.
after this. Please post it. Just raw as it is. Just put it all up there. Singing,
Like, please excuse
audio,
me.
the whole thing. I want to see the whole thing.
We got some bloopers for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, is that your husband? Yeah.
Just some of the people.
It says still JV's.
Yeah, that's my husband. Yeah.
What happened?
No, he said still JV's audio boosts. I do. So yeah. So a lot of the audio stuff, you know, when I hear it, I am boosting. You know, like tripling it so that people can hear.
Yeah,
You know, and boosting it. Absolutely. So yeah, I did that.
So what are the bloopers?
What were we talking about?
What the bloopers? What are we talking about? What happened that I?
Oh,
that
I
didn't
think
see?
he was trying to say, who was? Do not take outtake. Oh, that's your husband. I think he wants to hear you singing.
He's heard me in karaoke.
Yeah, because he says do an outtake. Oh, do an outtake.
We
extra.
karaoke sometimes.
Yeah. No, Chris. No, we're not gonna.
So
But we had blooper moments. Me and Shari, we had some funny moments though.
like
Some things we can't.
anything you want to
run.
share? Just probably better you didn't. So Mandy, you're coming back in April, maybe.
Yes,
To
I
the
want to bring
Mine.
the sisters. Yeah.
Now, are all of you mediums or sensitives? Or?
No. You know, you want to know something weird though? My sister Bobby, she is the skeptic on the team, but yet here lately she's been experiencing some things in my mom's house. She's actually been complaining that she's hearing a woman's waking her up talking to her, and she's actually seen her. And I'm like, wait a minute, now you're the skeptic on the team and you're experiencing this. She's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm hearing this woman, I've seen her, and yeah, just I don't know, but yeah, but Chastity, she's just Chastity, just investigator.
But you're related. You're sisters.
Yeah. Oh, we're biological sisters.
Who's
Yes.
the oldest in the group?
Chastity?
And where are you in the line?
I'm the middle.
Oh boy, that explains it.
That's it. But I got a lot of sisters, not just these two.
Oh,
I've
okay.
got more.
Wow. So Shari, I gotta pick your brain on this one because I listen to you and I hear what you're saying. You've been doing this a really long time now. If you had to put a year on it, how long would you think that you were investigating the paranormal?
It's hard to pinpoint a time because, like, I know it was the 90s, and I know I was with a certain person because that's how I got started into this whole thing.
So
because he was the doppelganger. So that's how I always know, oh yeah, I was with him. I first started dating him. So, you know, it was around like that 95, 96 time.
So we're talking 25 years at least, right? So knowing what you know and experienced all the things that you've experienced, I'm a skeptic too when it comes to, again, seeing what I see, hearing what I see. I mean, experience the whole thing. Do you believe though that there is something beyond?
A skeptical believer. So I
Right.
definitely believe it with everything that I've experienced over the years. Absolutely. Like there's no doubt in my mind that there's something, like, you know, like you see it, you feel it, you have direct responses, you know, with different things, different devices or whatever. The voices that you catch, them answering your questions, When you're talking to people like that, like family members or whatever, friends, family members, and you get their responses through the devices,
Right.
and it's their voice. And when I first started out, I did a lot of, I just did all residential because I
Okay.
got into it because of the experiences that I went through. I wanted to then, of course, learn as much as I can and then help others that were going through the same thing. I didn't even want to go inside the house. I never wanted to go to sleep because of things that happened in my room. Very uncomfortable. I was more comfortable sitting in my car than going in the house. Like it's just,
Wow.
it's an awful feeling, So
Yeah.
I just wanted to kind of get into it to help other people that kind of going through all of that same thing. So I would investigate their locations, but then, at a couple, it takes a while to investigate one location. And one of the investigation nights, I would have them sit with me, whoever's having the experiences.
Right.
I would have them sit with me to try to contact whoever was there. And a lot of it, most of it is usually a lot of the ones that I did are like family members. And so they get to talk to the family members. And so they could have this conversation back and forth and try to figure out what the problem is. Maybe they're trying to tell them something or whatever it is. So in seeing that too. So they're talking to their loved ones on the other side. They hear their voices. They know who they're talking to. It's like, how is that even possible?
Right.
How, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know. So yeah, so I definitely believe in it because I don't understand how we could be doing this,
Yeah, because, like I said, you do this long enough, you can't explain any of it. The more you do it, that you can't explain how, you have no idea how it works. But again, Shari, just because, again, I'm curious in your perspective on this. If you go into the ABC mansion that people have been saying is haunted for 20 years and other groups have gone in there and whatever, videos, blah, 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 and you experience absolutely nothing over 2 days, what would your opinion be of that building?
Not active. Not like I would never, if you tell me that there is a really, really haunted location, I expect activity in there. I mean, maybe not the first hour or whatever, but like I expect something to happen. Okay, it might take a couple of days because not everything obviously happens every single day. But if I go in there a couple of days and still like absolutely nothing, it's like, nothing. I went into the most haunted, I won't be specific.
Right. No,
I went into the most haunted place.
Me too.
Okay, in the area.
Me too.
And I went there by myself, and I sat there for 6 hours, like from the attic to the basement. I tried so many things. I tried all my devices, tried to talk to them. I mean, like I tried whatever I possibly can,
Right.
and not one thing happened.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? Like, just like nothing, no, like nothing. It was just quiet. And but then I see all these other videos of these YouTuber people that are out there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, demons. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like absolutely nothing happened. So no, so in my mind, I don't want to say that there's no activity because that's not right for me to say.
Right.
But for me to ever, if anybody ever said, hey, is there an active location over here? I would never mention them.
Right.
So, I'm not going to blast them and be like, oh, this is my video.
I'm just, again, now,
Yeah.
Mandy, how would you explain something like that? If it were like what she's saying, if it were a well-known place, all these groups went in there and yet she got nothing as a medium, like what would your feelings be about, can people affect the activity that happens in a building? Can you just turn off?
I mean, I think the people can, but then there's times when you're in a place like it's said to be really haunted and you don't really get anything, like Shari said.
Right.
I just think sometimes the spirits are there. They just don't want to talk. They probably, if it's an active location that a lot of people are investigating all the time, sometimes I think they get tired of it. They don't want to communicate. I just, that's my opinion though. I just think that.
Yeah. I mean, well, I agree. Like
Yeah.
everybody has their own energy. It's just like if a stranger comes in.
Well, that's the point.
I've
like
gotten a lot of stuff at places.
Yeah.
I've sat there like, come on now, give me something.
I mean, they may see you telling everybody to shush and be quiet, Shari, and they're like, let's just go and not talk to her.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
No,
So,
but it is,
yeah.
again, there's no wrong or right answer to that question, because you can see how people could look at it either way, because like you said, you don't want to call all those people liars who've been in there and experienced whatever they say they've experienced, but also you're basing it on your own experience, because I was there and nothing happened. And that happened to me in probably one of the most popular haunted places that there is in this country anyway. And I was shocked. I mean, I wasn't there over days, but it was over an entire night, and not one thing. Where I'm walking around that building like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I have my flashlight and I'm looking around every corner expecting like Amityville horror, and nothing happened the whole time.
Yeah. I was at a location well known, and I'm like, this is you know, like it's just it's just like nothing's going on. I'm like, oh my God, this is supposed to be like the most haunted whatever. And it just, it's just, I'm not impressed. It takes a while to impress me, but when people are saying a lot of people that go there and then just have all these things happen, and they're only there for a couple of hours. And then when I go there and sit there and I stay there overnight, and I'm like, what the heck,
Yeah, but you've never been to a place before, Shari, you said you run events or whatever, where one night has just been kind of flatlined.
Oh yeah. When I do events, I always investigate prior to every location that I want to do an event at, because obviously you want activity,
of course,
and you want, everybody that comes to the events, you want them to experience.
Yeah, you're bringing them in, telling them this is a potentially active place.
And so, so when I go to these locations, unfortunately, sometimes I'm like, I didn't get enough for me to be excited to bring people here.
Right.
So I kind of like push it aside. But when I do go to some other locations and great things are happening, one group, so much is happening, and then the next group, absolutely nothing. And it's like, I'm sorry.
Now, again, Mandy might agree that I believe that has to do with the energy, either the energy of the people or how their spirits are reacting to that particular group of people. Just like you said, like people would react to different people. I'm an introvert, so you put me in a crowded room, Chris would make friends with 30 people in that room. I would talk to the one or two people that I know, and if they're not there, guess what? You wouldn't probably know that I was around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I do explain that to everybody. But I also, I feel horrible, because like you're basically saying the spirits don't like somebody in this room, so like you try to say it in a nice way, and it's like, you know what? Sometimes they don't want to say hello. Sometimes they don't want to deal with,
depending
whatever it is.
If it's depending on what type of time frame you're dealing with, what type of spirit it is, man, woman, it could have been, Shari said she was in the most haunted place and she didn't get anything, but it could have just been maybe what spirits was there. Maybe they had something against women. You just don't know, because that has happened to me more than once. I've been to a lot of these places, and I won't say the place, but it's very well known, huge location, said to be one of the most active locations. And me and Chastity was there and did not get what I thought, what everybody had talked about. But again, you just never know.
Well, this goes back to my point about the mine, in that I've been in there over the last 7 years, probably 50 times, had to, because we do usually probably 4 or 5 events a year there. Plus we'll go in on our own just to, you know, see what's there and who's willing to talk to us in a smaller group. And having all that stuff in my brain and on video and on audio, yet here, you know, Shari's going to be there, you're going to be there, Jason Hawes is going to be there, JV's going to be there, and you know, my apprehension is, or my you know, my nervousness is all around what if this is one of those nights where I know what has happened here, but Shari's going to go in, Jason's going to go in and be like I said, some guy was flushing the toilet 3 blocks away. The plumbing underneath is making that gurgling noise and just blow it all up. You know what I mean?
Something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, you know, they always tell me, no, I'm Mandy. I know you guys are all women. But they always ask me, you should do something with like women and women and women and women. I am not that type of person. Like, again, everybody has different energies, everybody, you know, and it depends. Like some women can go into a location and get a lot of stuff. Men go in there, nothing, or vice versa.
Yeah.
That's why we're always splitting up all of us, because you know, each group brings different energy in, and who knows who they're going to want to talk to. And I always say, I would never go anywhere and like a real investigation, you know, like when you're helping people with just women, because we might need a guy in there for the other spirits that they want to. You don't know who you're going to get in contact with. It could be a little girl who wants nothing to do with men, or a guy that hates women. So you never know.
That's a good point.
You know, yeah.
I had to drag my brother out a few times.
But you need to.
And he actually likes it. He says, I'm a ghost brother now.
Do you, Mandy, do you do private stuff too as well? Or do you just go?
Yeah, we do private residential cases. But I'm very picky on it, because if I was to do every case that everyone sends over every door, little creek or whatever, no, I need some proof. I need maybe some video pictures, or it has to be really serious for me to, you know, go
well,
there.
even beyond that, there are other issues that may not be
paranormal.
You don't know,
are they on medications?
Yeah, you have to know how to handle those and counsel those people, regardless if something is there or not, because you could make it a lot worse. We've dealt with those kind of situations. Not often, not a lot, but often. And it's scary because, like you said, you know, sure, you come from the paranormal TV world where, you know, everybody watches you guys every week and see what you do and you help people. And then everybody just thinks, hey, we can do that. Why? Because you watched the show where other people did that. No, you got to do your research. You better have resources. You better know what you're doing.
You definitely need to know a lot before you step foot inside of a place.
Right.
A lot of the times is, you know, you have to come up with your questionnaire. You know, you got to ask these people like everything, and you do have to get personal with these people, you know, with everybody, the relationships, the medication, the drinking, the drugs, like, you know, you really need to get personal with these people to figure out what, you know, like really what, you know, what's going on, if it's not paranormal, but like you have to figure all that stuff out.
You know, and to find out if you're number 10 group that they invited in because they haven't gotten, you know, their story, you know, the way they want it. That happens a lot too now, where people want so bad to believe that something's going on. They're just going through groups
it's
until
funny,
they get to the one that...
When we first started, well, when I first started, you know, in the 90s, everything was just, nobody would talk about it. Nobody wanted anybody to know. So it was just like, okay, well, we, you know, of course we don't say anything. Everything is confidential. You know, and we would never do that. So you could trust the people more back then. You know, but now it's just like, oh yeah, well, we want to have ghosts. Like
now they want to go on TikTok going, oh my God, you're you know, ghost in my house. This is
everybody wants to have that story of, oh my God, we do have ghosts, you know, so it's completely different. And, you know, and I did,
I'm
when
back.
when I first started the show, like, so I still helped a lot of, I worked with like TAPS family members and regular and other groups in the area. Whoever needed help, I would go out there and help after I closed down my team. And so I started the show, but even like right after that, I switched my name. so because like people were starting to, oh yeah, Shari, can Shari come? And I'm like, oh, I'm not. This isn't all an entertainment. So people, they would like set up like a whole bar. They would invite all
Oh
their
my
friends over, and
God.
there was
Yeah, I could see
food.
that happen.
And then we go there with our equipment, and we're like, "What the hell's going on?" They're like, "Oh, we're here to watch you." And it's like, "No, I'm not putting on a show for you."
I've had this happen, Shari, and I'm not like you guys, but I'm like, no,
But I've had it happen too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's party night where they're inviting their neighbors over and stuff. And they're like, hey, we're going to have that
I've had it
paranormal
happen.
here.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you both the question that someone just posted. Is there anywhere, Mandy, you go first. Is there anywhere you wouldn't investigate, and for what reason?
Well, honestly, no. There's not nowhere I really wouldn't go.
Even if it were a sensitive type of situation?
Well, now I want to say the mine. Okay, wait, I take that back. So the caves out in what is the location where a lot of the UFOs are? What's that place?
Area
Skinwalker.
51?
Yes, yes. I would not. I don't know about climbing on all those rocks and going in those caves and stuff like I've seen them do before. No, I don't know about all that.
What
that
about you?
I probably wouldn't do. The mine. Okay, yeah, that was open.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous about it, because it's a mine. But I would not. I don't think I would not go in an actual cave out in Nevada or anything like that. No.
Mine would be more of like terrorist attack places.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that. But otherwise, I mean, I would go anywhere, but yeah, things like that, I just.
Yeah, I was thinking.
You can go in the water. Somebody said, you want to investigate in the water, or something silly like that. I'd probably, let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything underwater because I'm like, I've got an issue with going underwater. So I don't know.
My God, like who's going to go underwater?
Past life
anything,
or something. Though? I don't know if I drowned. I have no idea, but yeah.
How would you even do that though? Like everything's floating.
I know.
There's no way to hear anything. Like,
I don't understand.
What are you going to do down there?
Well,
boat.
I should probably say go on the boat and investigate. They say water is an energy source for spirit. And there's been claims of people seeing things,
Yeah.
Well, along those lines, Shari, have you ever seen a full body apparition?
Oh, yeah.
How many?
Many. Multiple.
Really?
Yeah. Again, I've been doing it for a long time. So, there was a lot, when I was younger, there was a lot of shadow figures, but I think again, the reason why I started this whole thing was because of a doppelganger of my ex-boyfriend who was just like seeing you right now. Like he was right there.
That is weird.
So since then, I've seen multiple things throughout the years. But it's like, I mean, it's a flash.
Right.
That particular one, like I don't even know how long he was in my room for. I have no idea, but I mean, he came around and, so that whole, it might've been like a 10-minute ordeal. So I've seen him walking, so that was that one only time. Wow. But otherwise I would see things like, like in a flash, like, okay, so you see something walking or you see something standing there. That I've seen a few times, or what we might have experienced in the mines. We sit there.
Good teaser.
Mines that we don't want to talk about.
Somewhere in all that editing and mic stuff, there's going to be good evidence in there. You guys she's not selling it. It's going to be good.
I know, because yeah, we're trying not to be very specific on anything that we
Right,
say,
right.
but definitely we were both very excited about what we saw.
Oh, good.
But at first, I do have to say, at first, we honestly thought like the people at the mines that were there when we were still there, because it was like late at night, right at the very end when we were like ready to go.
Right, right.
So the people that closed the mine down, we thought it was them coming into the mine
No.
to say something, because
Yeah.
you don't have any reception in
Right.
the mines, and we're like, oh, maybe they're trying to say something or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
we don't even know what time it is. When you're just in
Right.
there, you just. So we're like, oh, maybe we're like.
And you guys were in there for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were in there for a real long time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's why we're like, oh, maybe it's just them saying, okay, what the hell? It's the next day. What are you guys doing? Like, we don't know. And so in the beginning, when we were going through that experience,
Right.
again, we weren't fully into investigation mode,
Right.
because we just thought somebody was coming to get us.
Oh, wow.
And then it took
Yeah.
a few seconds to be like, wait, what's going on? So
Like, are we
Yeah.
really seeing this? Are we
Yeah.
seeing this and hearing this?
Yeah.
What's going on?
it was, so it was amazing. Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
good.
JV had, again, I've been in there. I've seen the mist. I've seen the mist many times.
Mhm.
And JV
Oh, yeah.
caught the mist coming by. If you watch the video,
Yep.
it almost looked like a person. And again, it could be matrixing. It could be your mind just the way he caught it with the
Yeah.
light. And then they kind of dismissed that as saying it was debunked. It was his breath in the mind. But, again, they're filming a lot. And that breath mist you think would have been captured a lot more. This is the way my
Right.
brain works. And then JV captures another thing where the mist actually it doesn't come from sideways or either way. It
Mhm.
forms in front of him and goes straight up.
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
And he
And
catches
that's
that
when he
on
was
camera.
alone.
And we've, again, seen that before. But yeah, there are elements in there because it is a mind and the mist is there that can mess with your head a little bit, the shadow play and all that. But
Yeah.
there's definitely, we've come across, I don't know if you went there, and maybe you did and nothing happened, but there's an area called the explosives area. And I don't know how much time they spent there or you guys spent there.
We
If
went there.
If I played you the
We went
EVPs
there.
that we got from there, it might have been that one particular night, for whatever reason, there was a man there and he was pissed off. Every other word out of his mouth was a curse word, because we were
Pissed off
trying
at you guys, or just in general?
that we got. There was just three of us there, and somebody had said try over, and I'm like, oh, I never even investigated over here before. And I went in there and I held the recorder and I stayed outside the room and I held the recorder in. I swear,
yeah, I
out
know
of
that
10
place.
questions, I got 5 answers.
Mm-mm-mm.
Crazy.
I think, we went into that location because I remember saying to you, this is where, like, John and Chris said
Yeah.
that you guys, we did get a voice
Oh, good.
in there. So yeah, we did.
So
Nobody swore, but we did get a voice. Oh, but somebody did say something that was kind of like, it was a female. We
snarky.
did catch a female. Remember I sent that to you? And it
Yes,
sounded
yes.
like she was just like, well,
Yeah.
So I don't think that she liked that we were there.
Funny you mentioned that. Jason caught 2 female voices,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which
And
was
it's
strange
funny.
because,
There was
Probably
female
didn't
spirits
mind
in there,
them
too.
being there, but she didn't want us to be there.
but females didn't work in the mine, which is really,
Right.
really weird. And
Yeah.
they, again, go back, watch that video if you get a chance. They're outside. When you go all the way through it, there's a couple of ways you can get out of there. There's this one side door that takes you out to the parking lot. They're outside there talking, and they hear a female voice like next to them, and they all stop and they're like, is that the walkie or whatever? And they're like, no, that came from next to you or
Inside.
behind you in the
Yeah.
door. And then they went in and they started getting voices galore. It was really cool. Again, I enjoyed watching it. I'm looking forward to watching, Shari, when yours comes out. You got to let me know and we could,
Oh, definitely.
preview
Well,
it.
I'm hoping for next Wednesday, but I will definitely, keep everybody posted.
And Mandy, when you do yours, is it going to be just for you guys, or you're doing a YouTube thing as well?
It's all together.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
yeah.
good.
You probably maybe, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
No, I was happy that all you guys were there, because when Jay told me about what's happening and how you were doing it, and I thought it was great again to have, the three guys and then you two. I was really curious to see how they were going to react to either or,
Yeah.
And
And again, you don't know. It could have been like each night, different things going on.
Exactly.
Just the night to night, or it could be women, men. So it's just, you never know what you're going to get. If they want to talk to us, if they don't want to talk to us, if they're just, Yeah.
So, Mandy, any socials you want to plug? Talk about your group, get your group out there.
Sure. If you, we do a lot of live investigations. I do want to learn how to do more editing, and so I can upload, videos like that to YouTube. But right now, unfortunately, I have to do live.
I'm right there with you. Trust me.
Yeah. But if you want to see live investigations, you can go over and watch us on Facebook. We go live on Facebook. We go live over on YouTube, on Ghost Sisters, and on TikTok.
And Shari, you're on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm just starting out on YouTube. I really only have one video up there right now. It's a location that I investigated with Jay up in New Hampshire.
Okay.
But no, I'm trying to start up, and like I said, I don't know how to put videos together. This is like all new to me. I'm trying to do whatever. So there's no. If you see issues, girl. Listen, it's just like, I'm sorry.
I can't wait to watch it.
I'm with you. I'm
not professional by any means.
My sisters don't have to do nothing. All they got to do is show up every now and then.
I deal with the same thing, Mandy. I deal with the same thing. I book the events, the whole thing, except for the expo. Chris and I, we work, together on the whole expo together. But New Jersey Paranormal, oof.
Which again, congratulations on another year.
Oh, well, thank you. You guys are coming. I don't hear anything. I haven't heard anything from you guys.
We're
you guys coming? Oh, good.
We wouldn't miss it.
Because I'm waiting on Lee to get back to me. That's a whole nother side conversation.
Yeah, well.
But I do want you guys back. You guys are always welcome.
I will.
And Mandy, you should think about coming this year.
Okay. When does it usually go down? In October?
November now. November 8th. Yes.
November 8th. Okay.
Just think about it.
Reach out to me, and it sounds like it. I know it's a big one, so I've been to the Gettysburg one. But we didn't set up. I just went and just walked around and was there, spent the night there at the hotel there. But I've only set up in Tennessee one time at a Paracon, and we've been setting up in our hometown every year for about 4 years now.
Okay.
But I'm open to going and checking out other locations.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah,
Ghost Hunters will be there. A bunch of others will be there. It's a good time.
It's a great time. Mm-hmm.
New Jersey's crazy to drive in. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
Hey, don't start insulting my state. Just because we have drones and I don't know how to drive, we're still people.
I drive in Boston, so we all suck. I know.
Drones, we're looking for out-of-staters, and they're tracking, making sure.
Well, I got us lost, and I had a GPS, and I was still going in circles. And Shari's probably like, "What the hell is this?"
And she's a good driver too. She goes nice and slow.
I'm
and
like grandma
we're assholes, just kind of so we're always like, we don't use blinkers, we don't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I have actually a shirt. I am.
I'm a blinker lady. Like I'm using all the signals. I'm going cautious, and I'm like, oh Lord, these people.
She's a cop.
I have a T-shirt that says "We're from New Jersey and we don't like you either." So I mean, I wear that.
But I loved it. It was beautiful there.
I love how you waited to the end to insult my state, though, Mandy. So that was very. I like how you did that. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you for watching. Keep an eye out when Mandy's video Shari's video does come out. I'll post the link on New Jersey Paranormal, so we could all watch that and I can't wait to see it because I have no idea. We can't talk about it here, but I have no idea what you guys caught or what you experienced or any of that. And I can't wait to see
I
it.
can't wait to see it, and I was there.
We just have to wait for that editing. And,
Right. I'm trying.
all right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you guys soon. Shari, stay on so we could talk after. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good night.